Lieutenant General Godfrey Lebeya. We have the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Shamila Batohi, and Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Rodney de Kock. We set out a media advisory this morning in line with our investigations into the VBS. We felt that it was critical that we give feedback to the nation as to what is transpiring, and that is what we will be dealing with only today. And therefore, without any waste of time, let me hand over the mic and the podium to the National Director of Public Prosecution, to the National Head of the DPCI to come and give us his address. Thank you.
The members of the media, Advocate Batohi, Advocate de Kock, fellow South Africans, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for honoring this invitation to share with you the progress of the investigation into the Vendor Building Society Mutual Bank, VBS. The bank, as you know, was founded in 1982 as a building society and became a mutual bank in 1992. Today, members of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, DPCI, conducted a simultaneous search and seizure operations in 10 premises in Gauteng and Limpopo provinces. The team also executed warrants of arrest on 4 suspects. 3 other suspects are expected to hand themselves today. The 8th suspect has been affected by COVID-19 quarantine requirements. So as soon as all of the relevant processes are completed, we will be securing the attendance of the 8th suspect also in court. The DPCI has been working in this matter since August 2018. We have been investigating as an inquiry, which inquiry was converted into a police case docket in May 2019. It investigated the conglomerate of offenses with the guidance of the National Prosecuting Authority. Thus, it was decided to charge the suspects with 47 counts of various criminal offenses. These are 5 counts of the pattern of racketeering activities in contravention of the Prevention of Organized Crime Act. That is the POCA. 12 of these counts are of theft, common law offense. 7 of these are for fraud, which is also common law. 15 counts are corruption, that is in terms of the contravention of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act. 7 counts are of money laundering in terms of the POCA legislation. A criminal case was reported by the South African Reserve Bank and specifically the Chief Executive Officer of the Prudential Authority. This is a juristic person operating within the administration of the South African Reserve Bank that was established in terms of Section 32 of the Financial Sector Regulation 9 of 2017. The complainant in this case formed an opinion in his then capacity as the registrar of VBS Mutual Bank that there are difficulties that in case the bank was to be requested to repay the monies that were being owed, it will be unable to do so. So that informed the opinion which compelled a case to be opened. On the 11th of March 2018, the Minister of Finance, acting within the powers conferred upon him in terms of the Mutual Banks Act, that read with the Banks Act of 1990, appointed a curator for the VBS. On the 13th of November 2018, upon the application of the Prudential Authority, VBS was put under compulsory winding up by the High Court of South Africa, the Gauteng Division, which is in Pretoria. A provisional liquidator was appointed on the 14th of November 2018. The investigation revealed that as on the 11th of March 2018, there was a general deficiency in the monies received by the VBS, which amounts to 2,296,599,008 rand. The scam was hatched on the 4th of July 2017 when the Board of Directors for VBS approved financial statement for the year ending on the 31st of March 2017, making VBS look richer, while it was in fact insolvent. The financial statements were shockingly inflated. The allegations are that the chairman and the executive officer, CEO, signed the director's responsibility statement to the annual financial statement that was prepared by the chief financial officer of VBS. The investigation has revealed that the 8 men who are the suspects either unduly, directly or indirectly benefited at least 122,287,863, which was not due. Our investigation revealed that 20 municipalities deposited an amount of 3.7 billion, of which 2.2 billion was paid back, leaving an amount of 1.5 billion in VBS. The suspects are expected to appear in Palm Ridge Regional Court on Thursday, tomorrow, the 18th of June 2020. The investigation of this magnitude are complicated and labor intensive. The DPCI received this investigation during August 2018 as indicated, and immediately started putting together an investigation team consisting of 15 investigating officers, some of which were seconded from the greater service, the detective service. Let me conclude by thanking the efforts by the investigation team of serious corruption investigation within the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, DPCI, the National Prosecuting Authority, and the South African Reserve Bank, as well as the Financial Intelligence Center that have played a role. We would also like to thank the liquidator who played a key role in ensuring that there is cooperation with this investigation. The team work that was put in place here is a recipe for success. We would like to thank you for having attended this session. Thank you very much for the attendance. Thank you.
Thank you to the national head of the DPCI. I would like now to request the National Director of Public Prosecutions to come to the podium to address the nation on the same issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brigadier. Good afternoon to, firstly, General Lebeya, Advocate de Kock, members of the media, and the people of South Africa. Today marks a really important step in the progression of this particular matter, and I'm not going to deal with the details of it, which Advocate Lebeya, General Lebeya, has outlined for you. The update and background and overview that the General has just given gives assurance that the team that he has mentioned is really hard at work and have been since this matter commenced in August 2018. It presents one with a certain level of confidence that indeed the relevant authorities are making headway in key cases. Whilst today's developments are an important milestone, and we are certainly pleased and commend the advances that have been made by this team, as the General has outlined, we all know that still a lot of work lies ahead. Although it is imperative that we move with speed to finalize these matters, the team also has to be meticulous and painstakingly go through all the evidence with a fine-tooth comb. We have to do this in order to ensure that in the end, justice does prevail and the rule of law prevails as well. We owe it to all the investors of the bank, in particular the elderly men and women of Limpopo and beyond, who lost their hard-earned earnings and lifetime savings. We have an obligation to all South Africans in general to deliver justice in this matter, as they have in many ways been victimized by this crime. But in particular, it is our duty to the direct victims of corruption in this particular matter. We can only restore confidence in the criminal justice system if we deliver quality service to those who have been harmed. We can only turn the tide against corruption if those who commit these crimes are arrested, convicted, and sentenced. That means there must be consequences. As we know, the greatest deterrent to crime is the certainty that there will be a thorough investigation and prosecution, and there will be consequences. So in that regard, today's operations and developments marks a key milestone in achieving that objective. And it's important to note what the General has said, that this investigation commenced in August 2018. August 2018 to June 2020 is actually short of 2 years, and I think we must really commend the team for the efforts and for being able to bring these legs of this particular case to the courts at this point. It is clear that the prosecutor-guided approach adopted by this team with the NPA and the DPCI, as well as the other partners that the General has mentioned, the Reserve Bank, the FIC, all working closely together, making sure that the relevant independence safeguards are in place, will definitely ensure the quality control and will ensure that this is properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, whilst the pressure to prosecute these cases is understandably enormous, believe me, I feel it. And given the pervasive culture of impunity that this country has sadly become accustomed to in recent times, and which almost entrenched itself, it must be borne in mind that quality investigations and prosecutions regrettably need time and patience. We do need to ensure that we deliver on all fronts. Given what this country is emerging from, I feel and share the impatience of the public for justice. But we want to assure the people that there are so many behind the scenes that are hard at work under very challenging circumstances, but that the wheels of justice are turning and that the rule of law will prevail. Our actions will indeed speak for themselves. So once again, I want to thank General Lebeya and the team, the investigators, prosecutors, and all the others that have worked very hard in this matter. And as the General has said, the suspects will appear in court tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you to the National Director of Public Prosecutions. I think now we will be opening the lines for questions. We have calls and WhatsApps that will be directed to the main table. So, Ignatius, are we ready? Do we have any calls from your side?
No, we don't have calls at the moment.
That's good. Any WhatsApps? Questions that we can start with?
Thank you, Chair. Currently, there are no questions on the WhatsApp line.
I think if we don't have any questions, I'm sure everybody is happy with the briefing. I think there's something as well. Okay, I think now the lines have been opened. I'm seeing some movement at the top. Okay, can we get an indication whether we're getting any calls? We're getting. Okay.
Journalists type in now.
Okay, we'll give them time to raise their questions. Okay, I think the telephone line people are not coming through. Can we get those WhatsApp questions if they've been posted already?
Thank you, Chair. There is a question from Kale Cohen from News 24. The question is, the NDPP has mentioned that it takes time and patience. Can she take the country into confidence and provide an undertaking that politicians who benefited from VBS will be made to account? That's one question for now.
That's one question for now. The National Director, I think let's respond to that.
Thank you. Is this microphone working?
Is it? Yeah.
Thank you very much for that question. What I can say is that the country may rest assured that we will certainly prosecute wherever the evidence takes us. And I'm not going to outline any particular category of persons, but if there's evidence of criminality and we are satisfied that the relevant threshold for probabilities of a successful prosecution have been met, we will prosecute no matter where that takes us.
Thank you. Any other question?
Thank you, Chair. The second question is from Danita Hunter from News 24. She's asking, her question is directed to the NDPP. Do you expect this prosecution to be protracted, or is there a will to conclude it speedily? And the second question is from Nazir from Glow TV. Will bail be opposed tomorrow at the court hearing? And the follow-up question from Kanita to the General Lebeya. Did officers conducting the operation face any resistance from this morning? Those are the three questions for now, Chair.
Okay, thank you. I think the national head can respond to the...
Thank you very much. With regard to the question as to whether the officers received resistance this morning, I can certainly say no resistance at all. We have just indicated that 3 of those that we should have arrested have not yet been arrested, but that is not resistance. We will probably, they will probably be handing themselves over. So there was no resistance at all. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Advocate, there are 2 questions
Sure.
that were requested from.
Thank you, Brigadier. On the issue of the speedy prosecutions, what I want to make clear is that we are, as a prosecution, intent upon these matters being finalized as speedily as possible. But what we have found in a number of high-profile cases is that there is a strategy to delay matters. And to deal with a number of interlocutory applications, and so, you know, the prosecution can't really control that, but we have decided that as the NPA we are going to take a much more vigorous stance with regard to these dilatory tactics, and that we have sought counsel's views on this, and we are certainly we have a strategy that we're putting together to ensure that dilatory tactics that tend to be employed to delay these cases will be much more vigorously opposed by the NPA. As far as the bail is concerned,
Bail, yes.
sorry on that, the prosecutors will consider the matters and decide what to do tomorrow.
Thank you, Advocate. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, Chair. We have 2 more questions on the WhatsApp number. The first question is from Jan Delange from Rapport. Is their investigation into VBS scandal complete, or is it still continuing? In other words, are these all the prosecutions that will follow from the more than 2 billion that was lost at the former VBS bank? The second question is from Genevieve Quintal from Business Day. Will there be more arrests in this matter, or are these 8 the only ones who will be arrested in connection with VBS? The next question is a follow-up from Kale from News 24. How will the person who is in quarantine be handled? And another follow-up question from Nazir. Are you planning to attach any property of this arrested? That's it for now, Chair.
What is the story over there?
Thank you. I think the first 3 questions are relevant to the general. The last one, I think the National Director will have to respond to that one on the attaching of assets. I think that would be directed to the national. I think let's start with the first 3, General.
Thank you. The first 3 questions. The first one, been from Rapport, whether will still be investigation on VBS, or this is the last that we are seeing. The investigation of this magnitude is usually conducted by way of dealing with the legs. We are going to continue to deal with this. You shall also recall that there are municipalities that shall have invested. We haven't talked about it, and we are not going to talk about it. But in general, we can just say that the investigation is continuing. And then whoever benefited, whatever crime has been committed, we will leave no stone unturned. In this investigation alone, more than 1,000 statements were obtained. Some of them already point that there is a direction that we need to look at. Whether there will be more arrests in VBS, as I've indicated, this is the first leg that we are dealing with. The investigation will guide us. The investigation is not concluded. So the probability is that whatever evidence direct us, we will be following that one. So look at this space. The last one was how we will be handling the suspect who's affected by way of COVID. There are procedures of dealing with those, so we respect those arrangements that whoever is affected by COVID need to be handled in a particular way. You will appreciate that we can't be irresponsibly fetching a person today and taking to court when there are processes that we need to follow with regard to COVID. We have got a warrant of arrest. It remains valid until it is executed. So we will secure the attendance of that suspect person when time is ripe to be able to appear in court. So that is with regard to the three questions that were raised. Thanks.
Thank you, General. The attachment.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Brigadier. The Asset Forfeiture Unit is looking into this matter. And so at this point, there hasn't been an application that's been brought, but depending on what the outcome of the investigations will be, we are certainly looking to, recover any proceeds of crime that we may be able to. But at the moment, the AFU is still busy with that.
Okay, thank you. Can we get the last round, if there is any? We really need to wind up. Any questions from the telephone lines, Ignatius, anything from your side?
Yes, I have. Yes, Chair, I have Govin from ENCM.
Oh, Govin.
I think it's gone.
It's decided to leave. All right. Anything from WhatsApp, sis? I think this will be the last round of questions that will be taken.
Thank you, Chair. We have 4 more questions on the WhatsApp. The first one is from Lizeka from News 24. NDPP, can you be frank and take South Africa to your confidence? Are you investigating any political figures in the VBS scandal? The second question is from Zwandile Mbeje from SABC. He's asking, will the arrest also extend to some of the officials within the municipalities that are being fingered in this saga? The third question is from Mpoma Toho from SABC. Mpo is asking, how many people do you expect to arrest who are implicated on the scandal? And Sidima Dia from News 24 is asking the General Lebeya. She's saying, General Lebeya, a lot of work has been done in the media on VBS. Are you relying or using that information in the investigations? The next one is from Pauli van Wyk from Daily Maverick. He's saying Floyd Shibambu of the EFF said he communicated with General Lebeya over VBS. Can the General speak to this, please? That's it for now, Chair.
I'll take the first one.
Yeah.
And perhaps I think the rest are all for you,
Yeah.
General. Thank you. So the first question about political, well, firstly, let me make it clear that, the NPA does not investigate, is not investigating this matter, but prosecutors, it is being investigated by the DPCI, but prosecutors in this prosecutor-guided model is working very closely, and there's a team of people that are working together on this matter. So I thought I'd address this earlier on. We really are determined to ensure that what people have termed probably the biggest bank robbery in this country, that those that had anything to do with this are held accountable. And so wherever the evidence takes us, we will ensure that, the rule of law prevails. Thank you. General, the other questions I think you can take.
Thank you very much. The question of whether the officials that are involved in municipalities will be arrested, I have obviously answered this previously. We are here dealing with one leg that is more involved with the running of the bank itself. I have indicated that there are 20 municipalities that shall have invested monies in the VBS. So that part of the investigation is continuing. We will not be saying whether individuals will be arrested or not. It is the space that you can just watch closely. So that investigation is in an advanced stage. The next one was how many more to be arrested. And as I have indicated, we will not be counting those that we are going to be arresting or securing their attendance in court. The method of our investigation is that we don't even name them before they are being submitted at court. Immediately after their appearance in court, they will even change the title. As of today, they are the suspects. We have arrested the suspects. By tomorrow, when their title become the accused, then can we start naming those that are the accused persons. So we will not be indicating how many we are going to be charging or prosecuting. This is a process that will be informed by evidence that we will submit before the National Prosecuting Authority. The next one was whether we are relying on what has been presented in the media. In the media, those who make statements are not required to prove the allegations. What we do is whatever we gather, we must have that view that we are going to present this at court with the purpose of proving what is being alleged beyond reasonable doubt. So whatever is being said in the media, it assists us as an information to follow. But we are not taking that as evidence. What is being said, we follow all those, inclusive of the report that shall have been presented by those who conducted an inquiry. Those we take as information to help us that there is a stone that need to be turned. So it's not the media per se that we take as a conclusive evidence. The question of having communicated with Mr. Shivambo, I wouldn't like, obviously, to be dealing with the communication by individuals that, as a police officer, on a daily basis, I receive calls from different people who are inquiring about aspects, be it investigation, whether we are conducting or otherwise. So, but any communication with the head of the investigation will never misdirect the investigation. So I can only say that from time to time, individuals will communicate with us, but the content of that communication we will not divulge unless the individuals themselves want to go public and say, this is what I have been communicating with the head of the investigation. Thank you.
Chair, one question.
Yeah, from the telephone line.
Yes, I have Shamila myself on the line from the SABC.
Welcome, madam. Is she connected?
Shamila, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Pungwani. It's Samkele here.
Hangwan. Okay, let's get the question, my brother.
Yes, it's Samkele Masego from the SABC. Just to be more broadly and specific, Advocate Shamila Batohi and General Lebeya, is your investigation looking into what was referred to in Advocate Terry Powell's report as the kingpin, who is the ANC Limpopo Provincial Treasurer Denning Caesar, who's also by his organization been placed on suspension on this matter of VBS and getting municipalities to invest into this mutual bank. Are you investigating Denning Caesar? And on the issue of the EFF leadership, is your investigation also looking into the role that Brian Chivambu, the brother of Floyd Chivambu, played into the bank, and the various reports that the Daily Maverick through Poli van Wyk has showed the money trail of VBS flowing into allegedly into issues of these two particular leaders and a particular credit card that is linked to VBS that was allegedly funding the lifestyle of EFF leader Julius Malema. And also on the issue of municipalities, is this also looking into the monies that were paid into then mayor of Zembe, which would be Florence Radzelani, the suspended deputy chair of the ANC and member of the provincial legislature in Limpopo? Is this investigation also looking into the various political leaders who have allegedly had their hands in the cookie jar in the looting of the 2 billion rand at VBS? Thank you.
Do we still have another question from the Ignatius?
No, sure, we don't have any alcohol.
Okay. General, I think you have a problem of having to rehash everything again.
Thank you very much. As we have indicated, our practice is that we do not name the people that we are investigating. If there is an investigation, we are not about to be confirming that we are investigating so and so. All what we can say is that no stone shall be left unturned. So the information that come to our attention, every piece of information will be followed. So as to who the kingpin is, whether we are investigating that, whether the individuals belong to a particular political party, the EFF as you mentioned it, or the mayor, we can just generally say that no stone shall be left unturned in the investigation. We are not investigating specific individual. We are guided by the crime that has been committed. Part of the crimes that we have mentioned is money laundering. There is a process of washing money that may be coming from VBS, and all those routes that the money shall have followed will be followed in the investigation. So let me say that our investigation is not directed at specific individuals.
On the WhatsApp.
Okay.
We have a question from Govan from ENCA. He's asking what was seized during the operation and what is the value of the items. The next question is from Luvolwetu from Rhodes Music Radio. The question is, have all the victims' investments been paid out? If not, what measures are put in place to return the monies of those that haven't received anything? That's it for now, Chair. Thanks.
General.
Thank you very much. I think that at the time of the search, there are obviously evidence that we were looking for in the form of paperwork. And then among the items that have been seized include a watch that will obviously be forming part of the evidence. We will obviously not at this stage be revealing all item by item that shall have been seized. Is a matter that will be dealt with at court. With regard to the issue of the investment that the South African Reserve Bank is dealing with that one. The matter, as you know, VBS is undergoing the liquidation process. So in the liquidation process, there is a mechanism of dealing with all those investors, those who are owing and the like. So at this stage, it is not the part of the investigation. As we have indicated, we are working closely with the liquidators. We know what they are busy doing, but that will be the responsibility of the liquidator to deal with that. You shall have read on the media that some of those who have invested certain amount under certain figure have already been paid, but those who shall have invested more than that particular amount is the one that the liquidation process will deal with that one. So that is the current situation with regard to the items that have been seized and the people that have invested. Thank you.
Thank you, General. I think we have come to the end of the press conference, the press briefing. Let me take this opportunity to thank the colleagues from the media, everyone. And we also thank the main table, general advocates, for availing yourself. So hopefully we will be taking over from our side now in terms of making sure that if there are any other requests or questions, we can direct them to ourselves. That's Brigadier Mraudzi and Mr. Sipongwema in that regard. With that, thank you very much, and press briefing is adjourned. Thank you.